IDubbbz has finally returned to his old roots, picking back up the mantle again with the release of a brand new Content Cop video.
Dangerous. Consider the fucking thing in our defense. Like, actually, Hila's not a baby killer. Actually, accusing Ethan of killing his dog is maybe too far because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group that anybody who says any fucking thing, they will attempt to ruin their lives. And once again, I'm the crazy one. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people.
What we do here is go back.
For those who are unfamiliar with Ian's content, Content Cop was a series where he called out content creators who, in his view, warranted criticism. It was quite the iconic time to be a fan of IDubbbz. His Content Cop videos were pretty good, quite the staple. Would even say they probably were like a golden age of YouTube. My favorite one was probably his Leafy video. His Leafy one was pretty good, one of the classics.
I really wanted to help, because he shouldn't have to bully people looking the way he does. So I decided that I'd raise funds for a chin implant. I did all the research. There's a few different options where they cut in and push the bone forward a little bit and put some screws in there and shit like that. It's going to be a little expensive though. So I came up with the brilliant idea of writing a children's book. A lot of people have been saying in the comments that Leafy looks like this character, the Dr. Seuss character. I think he looks like all the characters from Dr. Seuss because all of them have really weak chins. So that's how I got the brilliant idea of writing a children's book. It's called Leave Me Alone. I have this scene where he's in an ice cream shop and he's got a big stack of ice cream covering his chin, and he's saying some mean shit to people. And then the next scene, he's making fun of more people, but this time he's got a basketball in front of his fucked chin. And then finally, he's gonna be in front of a tree with a leaf covering his chin. And there'll be a big gust of wind coming.
But all good things come to an end, and that chapter of IDubbbz content would eventually close. Ian began to shift gears, moving into new territory with reviews, personal content, and large-scale projects like Creator Clash. He even addressed this evolution head-on in his I Miss the Old IDubbbz video, a sincere reflection on his personal growth and the changes he felt compelled to make. I haven't spoken candidly about my feelings on this channel. It's always been obscured by a video criticizing someone else or some kind of skit. I've changed and I've matured during my time here on YouTube, and I'm glad that I have.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to, run my channel and live my life. So I think it's, if I'm going to have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs, I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. So that's what this video is. I've realized that I need to be crystal clear about what I believe, so there's no room for ambiguity. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel, and I've also created a culture of apathy and, a lot of cruelty as well. Some of the videos I've made have been very, not edgy. I don't think they some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel. So I don't want people to, get it confused about, where I stand. I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it.
While the video didn't sit well with his audience and it did receive a fair share of criticism and backlash, Ian stood firm. He closed that door on his edgy past and sealed it away to never be seen again.
Psych! Oh my goodness! Squidward!
Here we are in 2025, and somehow, against all the odds, Content Cop is back. Ian decided to make a whole video on Ethan Klein. Out of all people, he's the one who pulled Ian back into the ring. And the context of his return and why he made the video is, let's just say, messy.
What's up, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the Hassan broadcast coming to you live from a cloudy day here in California, Los Angeles. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one because today's a beautiful day. I have a very important announcement. I've finally done it. I watched Ethan Klein's content nuke, and I'm not going to call it context puke as I normally do because the reality of the matter is it was brilliant. Nothing was out of context. Everything was correct. I am an Islamist, fundamentalist, radical terrorist. I am a vicious anti-Semite. It's true. Most importantly, Ethan is more attractive than me, both physically and also mentally. I've been lying about everything, including my glasses. They're fake. He was right about that. That's not even in the content nuke. And he was right about that too. How did he know everything? How? Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan.
From what I gathered, Ian was frustrated by Ethan repeatedly bringing him up on his podcast. Ian didn't want to be tied to Ethan's ongoing drama, especially the falling out he had with Hassan and other left-leaning creators.
You've been talking about it for the last 5 minutes.
It's not a fucking petty beef. It's like this guy is evil and he's doing anti-Semitism. These shoes do not go. I'm sorry.
There are many people, I'm sure, who have unfollowed you for the things that you've said and done, and I'm sure there are even more people who have stayed following you because they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. They don't want to throw someone away because they've had some hard moments. We're all fucking human.
My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered.
And what you're saying to me is that I'm a bad friend and I'm a piece of shit. I'm spineless. I'm cowardly because I am following someone on Twitter.
Because they have mobilized such an insane harassment group. It's not bad enough that I have this group of people harassing me and everyone in my life. It's that people outside of this group, journalists, creators, are actively participating in this gaslighting to make it seem like I'm fucking crazy.
Ian in his Content Cop says he felt empathy towards Ethan and Hyla, but didn't want to make a public statement. To him, Ethan was making the friendship transactional and demanding loyalty both privately and publicly.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing. I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. As much as you don't want halfway friends, I also don't want that kind of halfway friend. I don't want someone who's going to give me like an ultimatum to have a conversation.
And to be fair, this is one of the few criticisms I think Ian got right. He isn't obligated to jump in and defend Ethan every time there's a controversy. Just because he's following someone like IDubbbz doesn't mean he's automatically picking a side in her beef with Ethan. That's a very valid point. However, things fall apart later on in the video. Ethan felt betrayed, not just because Ian stayed silent, but because he stayed silent while being openly friendly with people who, in Ethan's view, helped amplify serious accusations against him, and those accusations ultimately led to CPS being called to his home. Ian's response to this was to frame it in such a weird and dismissive way.
Like, people like Anissa are the perfect example because she's friends with these people. She's friends with IDubbbz. IDubbbz is streaming this story about our kid
I'll show that, yeah.
getting Giarda from the dog, whatever.
I'm sorry, I'll accept this position from anyone except you guys. You have laid the groundwork for this type of streaming, which is watching people's shit and giving your unfiltered reaction to it. Why would you expect Anissa, of all people, to say something to IDubbbz? Okay, so by that logic, we should be saying shit to you guys all the time. But I have a feeling you guys wouldn't like if we said shit like that to you all the time. Yeah, we've been respecting you as independent content creators. You can do what you want. We'll treat you as adults. Maybe we shouldn't have been treating you as adults.
She could say so much, and it would make her a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's not comfortable. She'll get a little bit of shit.
Yeah, just for
but
saying
that would be commendable.
And by the way, it kind of speaks for itself that saying, hey, their house is clean, they're, they're actually good people, like that's going to get you shit. That kind of says it all, doesn't it?
There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck. It's not my business.
That's, in my opinion, doing something that's difficult and standing by your principles. That's the whole point. That's what makes standing by your principles admirable, is that it's not always easy.
Why are you saying that I'm not standing up for my principles when you don't even know what they are? I get, like, we're a little bit past directly naming me, so we might have gone off on a tangent. If you maybe accepted the phone call and we talked about it, you could have asked me, hey, what are your principles? And I can tell you the way I've been behaving is exactly in line with my principles.
But that's not why Ethan and Hila are upset. They're not blaming Anissa for the existence of React culture. They're upset that she and Ethan are friendly with someone during a live stream reacted to a video accusing Ethan of child abuse, and allowing her chat to spam call CPS and said nothing with no pushback and no moderation. That's the problem. For those of you who are confused or aren't understanding why Ethan has animosity towards IDubbbz, here, let me explain. IDubbbz is a left-leaning content creator who reacted to a video by Bad Empanada covering allegations of Ethan's supposed mistreatment of his kids. During her live stream, people began to spam call CPS in her chat, and she didn't moderate it or push back at all.
Here, for example, is IDubbbz, aka Hassan Waiting Room, watching Bad Empanada talk about the state of our house and how we take care of our kids. Let's take a look.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something. But they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over his house.
Dude, how is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, And every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit. This is where Ethan tells a story about his family getting
We
Giardia.
already have Mold Mondays. Now we have Shit Saturdays.
Also, this is not a joking matter, by the way. It can be very severe and deadly to small children. I mean, much like many other illnesses, it's very, very, very dangerous when infants get the same sicknesses that adults get. There are lots of things that you can get as an adult. You're totally fine. You'll be a-okay. No problem. A child, a small infant that has no immune system, shouldn't be catching anything.
Now, at this point, as he continues, notice the chat is almost in complete universal agreement. Call CPS. Call child endangerment. CPS, social services. Bro needs to unironically call CPS. That's child endangerment. Okay, if his kids have Giardia, they need to be taken away. Actual worst father ever, etc., etc. I'll let the chat play for you, but you can see just how crazed this community is. And once again, this is Denham's chat from the 1st. The call came on the 3rd.
No wonder his house is covered in dog shit, and his neglected children raised by nannies have contracted parasites previously unknown to science from the feces. I wonder why he skipped over all of this, because everything that he said, everything that I said in this story, which by the way was apparently compiled by his crew, playing.
No wonder this motherfucker is always sick. Yeah, it all makes sense now.
By the way, these people can't keep their talking points straight. On one hand, it's we don't raise our kids and our house is just run by nannies and housekeepers. But on the other hand, we also keep our house so dirty that there's dog shit everywhere. I mean, what are the housekeepers and nannies doing?
It all makes sense now. It makes sense why he doesn't care about Palestinian children when he is neglecting his own. How is this happening? How is this happening? How is this happening?
I have a 10-month-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old who are in school. Of course, I'm sick all the time. Once again, these childless people pretend that this is uncommon when, of course, anybody with any sense who's being honest. The thing is, these people are knowingly lying. They know that they're lying. It makes no sense what they're saying, but they do it anyway. Because, as you can see in the chat, and Denham's endorses this clearly, as you can see, she's not moderating this at all. And it's pretty much 100% of the comments saying call CPS on them. Their kids should be taken away. That she believes that it's justified to break up our family. This disgusting fucking human being who's endorsed by Hassan and the entire left community on Twitch, who is protected and elevated by Twitch, is on her platform right now advocating for our children to be forcibly removed from us by Child Protective Services. Denham is such an evil person. She is not responsible enough to have a platform. She should not be allowed to broadcast videos ever again.
Ian said it himself on his content cop video that he's friends with Denham's.
You'll notice that Ethan and Hila start talking about this Denham's character. Originally, the complaint was about my former editor. He's been chatting shit about Ethan and Hila for the past year at least. They only care about it now because I guess it was spoon-fed to them via their Reddit that's clearly looking out for them. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, where we are friends with Denham's, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship. We think that she's a good person like we think Ethan and Hila are good people.
And if I'm Ethan, looking at that and seeing one of my friends who I've known for a very long time talking to someone who's basically saying I abuse my kids, I would have a pretty big issue with that. Yes, I would have a problem with that. I don't understand why Ian is feigning ignorance. Like, he can't possibly understand why Ethan would have a problem with it. It's quite obvious. He knows it. Everyone knows it. Like, it's not some equation that's impossible to solve. Like, Denham's has been on stream being very uncritical with this information and kind of perpetuated it. And right after that stream, CPS was called to his house. Not saying Denham was the sole reason, but she definitely contributed to that narrative. Not to mention, if Ian wanted to stay out of the drama and not get involved and not pick a side, that's completely fine. But then why make a nearly 1 hour long content cop video? Why jump back into the mess in the most public way possible? And more importantly, why rope in Ethan's biggest critics to help make your case? It's like getting into a fight with a friend and then immediately running off to team up with people who already hate them. How is that productive? And how is that growth? Like, I'll tell you, the irony here is so wild. A lot of the people Ian collaborated with to make this video would have been the subject of a content cop back in the day. And let's not forget that Ian explicitly said in his I Miss the Old IDubbbz video that Content Cop was mean-spirited, that it led to harassment, and that he was moving away from that kind of content. So I have to ask myself, what changed? What happened? You said you outgrew this series, but getting called out by an old friend was enough to bring it all back? That was the bar? Honestly, it feels less like growth and more like a grudge, and this whole thing kind of feels like a joke.
The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons, and obviously didn't have any accountability online whatsoever on my end. I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I'm any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human. I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on. But it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not. It's super irresponsible and shitty. I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage. These videos have been out for a long time and have accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with, and I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years, and I've made a successful career out of it, and that's not right. I think that this is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable. I am running ads on this video, and any revenue generated from this video I'm going to match and donate to an organization that would have been particularly affected by the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel. And again, this is the end of what I'm doing. This is just the start. I don't feel like a lot of this content represents me as a person, at least not anymore. There was a time where it probably perfectly represented me because I was a nasty, apathetic, insecure person. Now that I don't feel like it represents me, I want to distance myself from it and keep it from indoctrinating more people.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
In closing, I want to say that I have always thought that I was an empathetic person because I thought, well, I get angry, I get sad, of course I got empathy. Seems easy, right? Empathy? I definitely have that. There were moments where like a dog would die in a film and I'd cry, so it's like, of course I have empathy. But I never did. I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability empathy, and I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32 I've acquired empathy, but I have, and I've realized it because I just can't help myself but feel for other people's pain and suffering now. I'm still not perfect. I think that is my empathy meter is only maybe like a quarter of the way filled up potentially, but it's at least there. And I just want you guys to know that you can unlock ability empathy if you experience more life. It might take you getting hurt a little bit, but it's worth it. It is so worth it.
I'm gay.
But anywho,
things get even more confusing when Ian defends Hassan's infamous America Deserved 9/11 clip.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
We're there to partner with them.
Later in the video, Ian claims Hassan was just frustrated and passionate about American imperialism.
Like, this guy made a fucking program with the biggest mega leftist on the platform. Now he's acting like he was tricked and he was incapable of figuring out what this guy's beliefs were. Bro, I didn't make the fucking leftist program. You did. You made fucking, 60 some odd episodes of this shit for hours talking to this guy? You didn't have a problem with any of it until, Ethan talks about being aware of Hassan's 9/11 comments and then sort of leaves it at that. Like it was just a joke. Actually, I think Ethan describes them as edgy moments or jokes.
You might remember him from such classics as
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
Now, to be clear, I knew about all these edgy and controversial jokes at the time we made the show together, because who am I to judge?
No, Ethan, those aren't jokes, right? When someone makes a controversial statement like that, that's not them trying to be funny. I can understand why you would conflate the two. That is someone who is extremely frustrated and passionate about a particular topic. In this case, American imperialism and terrorism.
What? What are you talking about?
But that doesn't excuse his language. When you're a political commentator, the bar is quite higher. If you pride yourself on understanding global issues with depth and nuance, saying America deserved 9/11 isn't just inflammatory, it shows a fundamental lack of sensitivity and responsibility. Why is Ian even defending this? It feels like such a weird hill to die on. Ian also critiques Ethan's comments on Matt Lee's speech, where Ethan broadly defends Jewish identity in response to criticism.
When Ethan and Hila are watching Matt Lieb saying that one state doesn't represent all Jews, they cannot wrap their heads around the idea.
No single person represents all Jews.
I'm just telling you how Jewish people around the world interpret that phrase.
No single person represents all Jews, as no single state represents all Jews.
This is another weird thing.
Oh my
Israel
God.
Israel, this is a lie that I see Hassan and people pander. They say that Israel's going to war on behalf of Judaism. They have never, I don't believe that that's ever been stated. And I don't think Israel ever explains that it's like, I think Israel says it's a place where Jews can go.
Israel's just a place Jews can go? With that slogan, we might actually have peace. You know, if that's all you're defining Israel as, is a place Jews can go. Like, sure, it sounds like America to me. Like, all right.
I don't think that Israel said they represent all Jews. I don't think that's a stance. We're like, hey, displacing Palestinians is all Jewish people.
Ethan is being so disingenuous here to suggest that he doesn't understand what Matt Lieb is saying. Like, he's making a semantic argument. Like, I don't think Israel has said that it represents every last Jew on the planet. I don't think Israel has claimed that. They're not going to say that their most genocidal behavior represents anything to do with them, okay? But what they are going to do is they're going to inexplicably link Israel and Jewishness together, so when they're being criticized, all of a sudden, they have the perfect defense.
Ian treats it like it's a major misstep, but Ethan isn't claiming to be a political expert. He's just offering a layman's take on the subject. So I don't understand why he's nitpicking that as though he's held to the same standard as a political commentator. Now we move on to the tier list controversy. Ian downplays it as a parody, just a funny satirical game, but here's the issue. When you create a tier list and rank ethnic groups, placing Arab at the top and Love Sabra, a clear nod to Israel identity, at the bottom, and then place Ethan in the lower tier, what's the joke? It comes across a little anti-Semitic.
Called the Who Can Say Habibi tier list. It was presented at TwitchCon as like a panel that was just meant to be lighthearted and fun. And Ethan Klein saw that and he decided that it was anti-Semitic.
Tier list them, and we're going to need your help to discuss and figure out who can say Habibi and who can't.
And also, we have tiers. We have Arab coded. They ask permission to say Habibi. You know, like you got like a white guy who's like, can I say it? Is it a slur? And then Love Sabra, which is they're not Arab coded at all.
Now, when I first saw this tier list, I immediately knew what it was doing. I was like, oh, it's a play on the who has the N-word pass and who doesn't tier list. Granted, Habibi is very different than the N-word, but it is a cultural word amongst Arabic-speaking people and Muslim people. Like, that is a word that's used. Habibi, it means my love. Oh no, don't do that, Habibi. Oh yes, Habibi. You're my Habibi, I'm your Habibi. So yes, it's meant to be a fun way that these Arab content creators can express their Arab culture and be proud of it and happy about it, because it's not like they have massive representation on the platform.
Making a tier list based on race, and nobody has a fucking problem with that. Okay, you have a tier list based on race. Where's the Jewish panel? Where's the Jewish panel? Where at the top it says Jewish. It's a tier list based on Arab to Jew. He's Arab, which is good. That's the best thing you can be on this. That's the best. This is racist.
I will say that conveying information through a tier list is not the most effective thing, but Ethan should understand this principle. He did a white slurs tier list with Hassan.
And it's like, Hassan, okay, actually, he's Arab. We fucking love him. He's dope. He's Arab.
Habibi is an Arabic word. That is an Arabic word, Ethan.
Funny about this whole thing is that they say Habibi in Israel. Again, people underestimate just how like mixed Israeli culture is. Like,
we say Habibi in Israel. Yes, Ethan. Another piece of evidence as to why it isn't anti-Semitic.
This is racist.
If you're not Arab or understand Arab culture at all, which is a lot of Americans, and Ethan Klein presents you this tier list and calls it anti-Semitic, you're just going to eat it up. It's not. Ethan is just proving his location on this tier list under Love Sabra because he doesn't understand Arab culture. There's a lot of Arabs who eat Sabra. There's a lot of people like me who eat Sabra. A lot of the times it's all that's in the store, and I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna eat it, but it is not the good shit. Like, the average Arab American, they're gonna go in the store and the only option they have is fucking Sabra. And that sucks that that's the only option, right? Arab communities and distribution facilities are not widespread across the US. So what are they left with? They're left with a common, relatable, shitty hummus, which is Sabra. And what's so fucking pathetic about this whole thing is after he was able to get these Arab creators banned off of Twitch for 30 days, he goes on to talk about how bad Sabra hummus is on his show.
I don't think anybody...
Imagine I made a tier list with white people at the top, and then I put a section at the bottom called Love Popeyes. And then I only place black creators down there. What would be your takeaway if you just saw that list with no context? There's a moment later on where Denim says there needs to be a Zionist tier for Ethan.
Where's the you guys are missing a category for Zionists. That was a joke. That was just a joke in my
Denims. Well, obviously it's Love Sabra, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
That's easy. That's definitely Love Sabra.
What is that supposed to mean? What does that have to do with hummus? The whole bit plays like a dog whistle, subtle enough to be denied, but loud enough to hear. Look, this new content cop just feels off. It's less of a return to form and more like airing out personal grievances in the messiest way possible. Like, why surround yourself with people who clearly hate the person you're calling out? If Ian wanted to respond to Ethan, fine. But why drag in partisan figures like Hassan or Denims who clearly have beef with him? Why defend inflammatory takes? Why muddy the waters even more? This doesn't feel like growth, it feels like a regression. Let me know what you think. Is this a return to form or a fall from grace?